having a regular menstrual cycle, that's obviously the canary in the coal mine. But, a lot of us are on birth control, whether it's the pill or the IUD. We don't have this indicator. And frankly, a lot of us are happy we don't have that indicator all the time. Periods are messy, inconvenient, annoying. They make us feel sick. Having a period is a giant pain. And literally for many, many women. And we might choose to be on birth control to honestly not have to go through that. So are there other indicators other than a regular menstrual cycle that we are feeling correctly?
Absolutely. And so I just want to say, I totally hear that, Claire. Like, a period is not the most convenient thing. No matter what you do, it isn't, right? So I'm just going to put that out there. And I'm also going to share after, is there any indicators, the very important health benefits that come along with having a period, or I guess like the, health disparities that could come along with not having a period. So if you may not know your cycle is regular or not, and they're trying to push, there's a doctor I'm actually recording a podcast with next week, Dr. Schufelt. She's out of the Mayo Clinic, and she's a women's health researcher, and she is pushing for the period to be one of the vital signs, because it is so dependent on not only your energy levels, but your stress levels and so many other things that it's not even being talked about. It's not being talked about unless you're at your OBGYN. It's not being talked about. And I can tell you, for me, Claire, I have a regular textbook cycle. I'm not on any forms of hormonal contraception or hormonal, stuff. But I had a cycle that was a day late. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, what's going on with me? And then I noticed that I had a very large amount of stress happen a couple days before my ovulation. So anyways, going back to that, how would you know? So injuries are a big thing. So if you're being injured a lot, so that could be meaning your bones are breaking easy, or, you're tearing stuff easy. If you're tired, if you're cranky, or just, overall just unpleasant to be around. If you're constantly thinking about food, if you are sort of obsessing around food, if you have a poor relationship with food, like I can't eat this, I can only eat that, or like this is bad for me, this is good. So I'm not saying that the bad and good mentality is a result of, you having a potentially missing period, but those are some contributing factors, or behaviors, should I say, that could indicate that, along with the huge energy output that you're doing with marathon running. And most, I don't know if you could probably speak to this better, Claire, are your runners only just running, or are they doing other physical activity too?
Sure.
So there's the running on top of maybe the other stuff that you're trying to do to, strengthen. So, injuries, I would say, are the biggest ones. You can also, too, get a bone density test. So depending on your age, depending where you live, your doctors might be like, well, we have to have, some type of, reason for billing insurance for that. So it may not be the easiest thing to do. But I think the tiredness, but not always, because here's what happens, Claire. When we are under fueling and not eating enough, we have a influx of stress hormones, and those stress hormones can actually make us more energized, but it's not real fuel. So the energy, like the lack of energy, is hard to say, because some women are like, I have tons of energy. Some women are like, I have no energy. So it definitely differs there, but I think injuries is probably one of the biggest things. And then your sex drive. If you have no sex drive, the libido, I can tell you when I was under fueling, I'd be like, ooh, I don't even want to, so sex drive, that is another indication too. And I would say a big thing is just, your overall attitude. And you got to think of it this way. If you're under fueling, you're just, I don't want to use I don't know if I can swear on here or not, Claire, but,
go ahead.
Just if you're a bitch, if you're just constantly on edge, because here's the thing, your body is not properly fueled, so your brain doesn't have the capacity to be anything but on edge because you're constantly seeking out your next meal, even though you're maybe not thinking of it. So it's just a a biological thing of how our bodies are protecting us when our energy is very low. And when I mean energy is that you don't have enough food fueling. So those are some signs, but it is really, sort of hard to tell unless you are not, on birth control pills. And if you lose or pills or patches or whatever, if you do lose your period on the pill or on the patch, that is a big red flag. You should not, unless it's a pill or some type of hormonal regimen that you're not supposed to have a period on, then okay. But if you lose it on there, that's a huge, huge red flag.